Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Man here. Hope you're doing well. So today is the 10th, that's right, 10th anniversary of X-Men Days of Futures Past. Um, this was the second film in the new trilogy that started with X-Men First Class in 2011. This was based on the comic Days of Future Past. I think this is a great X-Men movie. It's actually not my favorite. That's still X-Men 2, X-Men United, that came out in 2003. But this is definitely the second best X-Men movie in the entire series. And I'm including Deadpool and Wolverine movies in there too. The way they were able to combine the newer cast with James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, and then bring in the OG X-Men, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry, Sean Ashmore as Mommy, Anna Paquin, Ellen Page. I'm going to say Ellen Page. I don't care. And they were able to combine all, and then of course, you can't forget Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, my guy. I think and what Bryan Singer, the director of the first two X-Men movies, came back to direct this movie, and he did a knockout job. I love the look of the futuristic scenes set in the future. And they have like new characters like Blink and Bishop in here. Like Omar Sy playing Bishop. Also, don't forget, we also had Daniel Cudmore come back as Colossus from the X-Men 2 and X-Men 3. And then, I like the look. It was set like in China. It had a unique look to it. Back to the 70s with Hugh Jackman, now in the 70s, without his adamantium claws and the bones coming out. And then you get James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender back, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, like I said, was great. I like how this one focused more on Professor X's story, and I thought this is the best we've seen of James McAvoy in the role of Professor Xavier. His inner turmoil, dealing with a lot of complex issues he's dealing with, inner turmoil, also the layering of Professor X. It was like a different side we haven't seen from him before. Like I said, Michael Fassbender, I loved him in the first X-Men First Class. I thought he was a great Magneto. Eric Fletcher here, the same thing. Even Jennifer Lawrence, going back and watching this movie. At the time that this movie came out, Jennifer Lawrence was everywhere. Hunger Games, the other X-Men movies, her Academy Award-winning movies, Silver Lining Playbook, American Hustle. And she was everywhere, so it did take me a while because you gotta remember when X-Men First Class came out, she was an unknown. Nobody knew Jennifer Lawrence in 2011. And then between X-Men First Class and this movie, Days of Future Past, Jennifer Lawrence blew up in 3 years. And so when going to watch this movie, all I saw was Jennifer Lawrence. Especially since they went back to the original mystique look of X-Men 1 and X-Men 2, now that Bryan Singer returned. It took me a while. That was always the one thing I did not like about this movie. But now, 10 years later, going back and watching this movie, and Jennifer Lawrence has really slowed down her career to the point that She's only been in 2 movies in the past, like, 5 years. She had the romantic comedy out last summer, and then the one on Netflix at the end of 2020. So she has really slowed down her, acting career, focus on her family, and it works now because it's not like, oh yeah, we're so inundated with Jennifer Lawrence. So when it comes to Jennifer Lawrence, you can also tell in this movie, she actually still cared about the franchise and the character, just like in X-Men First Class. But as you can see, by the time this movie was over, she finally, at least by the time this movie stopped filming, done filming, she can tell her rise in Hollywood really went up. That when we get to Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, she just didn't care anymore about the role, about the character, about the franchise. And that's really a bummer. Because, like I said, when you look at her in First Class and Days of Future Past, she still gave a shit. And that's why I'm like, going back and watching her now, after all the Jennifer Lawrence all the time in the mid 2010s, now it's like to look back on it now and go, actually she was really good in the role. Also, I think Hugh Jackman is great in here. He almost becomes the leader and the teacher to bring Professor X back up. The action scenes are great in here once again, whether in the future scenes or in the past. Evan Peters. Let's talk about Evan Peters. Evan Peters as Quicksilver. He's not in the movie that much, but that scene in the Pentagon when they play the song Time in a Bottle and they go slow-mo in the kitchen, one of the best scenes in this movie. Great scene. Evan Peters does an amazing job. Also, Peter Dinklage as Bolivar Trask. I thought he did a great job too. He really owned the role. So I saw the theatrical cut in the theater. I saw the movie twice in the movie theater. And then they released the Rogue cut that came out months after the theatrical cut came out on DVD. And I prefer the Rogue cut. Number one, there's probably about 10 to 20 minutes longer than the theatrical cut. But some scenes are a little bit more expanded on, which flesh out some more character development. There's a great scene in this movie, in the Rogue cut, where where Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique goes back to the X Mansion, and she runs into Nicholas Holt's Hank McCoy, and they used to be in a relationship, Jennifer Lawrence and Nicholas Holt, prior to this movie. And they have a great scene between Mystique and Beast. A very quiet, intimate moment, about 5 minutes long. And it really, it builds the characters, it, slows down the action, and it has a really great scene that I wish they didn't cut out of the theatrical cut of the movie. But also in the AKA Rogue cut, we do get Anna Paquin in a full scene. It was always odd when you watch the theatrical cut and you only see Anna Paquin in one scene at the very end, when she walks out the door and Bobby Iceman is there, and that's all we see of her. But she's second billed in the credits, and I'm like, how is that even possible? But the Rogue cut actually has this whole sequence of Magneto and Iceman going to rescue Rogue. And I always liked that because once she comes back to the group and she's taking over for Kitty Pryde, Ellen Page, and looks over, helping Logan, Wolverine, I always thought that was a great, why didn't they cut that out? Because Wolverine and Rogue have always had a great bond connection in X-Men 1 and X-Men 2. So to see Rogue and Wolverine back together in this one, I really like that. Also, I think this movie is also great. It has a great soundtrack. The score for this movie, I love it. Also, this is a movie where you do not have to go back and watch all the previous X-Men movies. Whether X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, X-Men First Class. They give you enough in this movie that you don't have to go back and do your homework. Like the scene where Wolverine sees the younger Stryker. They have the flashbacks to X-Men 2 with Brian Cox as William Stryker and Wolverine getting the adamantium. Or when Professor X, James McAvoy, looks into Wolverine's head and we see all those moments between him and Jean Grey from X-Men 1 all the way to X-Men The Last Stand. I like how this movie gives you the information you need to get you caught up with these characters. And then of course the ending of this movie was a complete shock to everyone, because this is when they were able to keep things hush-hush. When Wolverine finally goes to the present, the new present, future, and he walks down the hall and he sees Jean Grey and it's Famke Janssen, and then we see James Marsden as Cyclops, and it was just like one of those One thing I wish they had a Storm, Halle Berry Storm, in that room also. It was also nice to see Halle Berry return. So yeah, how they were able to put this whole film together and make it all work, where everybody has their moment, where the action is great, the music is great, you have that humor throughout, whether it's with Wolverine and Beast. So in the future, do I make it? Wolverine. No. And you got like Evan Peters, like I said, him being funny. Talking to like Magneto, you know karate? Huh? Huh? What do you do, man? What do you do? What do you do? I don't know karate, but I know crazy. This is one of the best X-Men movies, besides the second one. It's very disappointing that after this movie, the subsequent sequels, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, The New Mutants, never lived up to this film. It's a bummer. Like I said, Bryan Singer has done 3 out of the 4 X-Men movies he's directed have been awesome. X-Men 1, X2, and X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, X-Men Apocalypse, we won't get into that one. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, are you a fan of X-Men Days of Future Past? Is this one of your favorite X-Men movies? Can you believe it's already been 10 years since this movie came out in the theater? Oh boy. Let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment.